Hello and welcome back to Sakura Angels. Soaked to the bone, I squelch into the classroom. I didn't see Yuzuki on the way down, and she doesn't appear to be in here either, so I have no idea where she might have vanished to. So I've lost her, and I'm probably going to succumb to pneumonia. Great. Ah! Kenta! What on earth happened? Oh. I guess Sayaka came back to check up on me since I was taking too long to get to the cafeteria. I turned to meet her with a faint smile, my hair dripping wet. If I tell her that Yuzuki is here or that I went to confront her on my own, she might worry needlessly, so I'll keep it a secret for now. Moron! That was actually kind of painful. Note to self, don't smack yourself that hard. It's nothing, don't worry. Nothing? Kenta, you're completely drenched. What were you doing? I had to go out and get something, but it was too much of a rush to remember my umbrella. I'll be fine, really. Yeah. Okay, the sneeze isn't really doing me any favours. Come on, let's go get you all dried off. You're going to catch a cold at this rate. And Ikari will flip if she sees you like this. True. I'm lucky it was Sayaka that found me first. I offer no resistance as Sayaka takes me by the wrist and guides me out of the classroom. She doesn't question me any further on the subject either, of which I'm thankful. Almost dying in the rain aside, the rest of the school day goes by without much more happening. I catch no further sign of Yuzuki, though my headache lingers. I try to piece together everything Yuzuki had said. From what I can understand, she's doing all this because she wants friends? It doesn't make sense. How did she end up the way she is to begin with? And who is this she Yuzuki kept referring to? Someone that's somehow linked to my headaches? And by extension, I can only assume that she's the cause of the monsters and everything else that's been going weird lately. Yuzuki also implied that Sayaka and Hikari know more than they're letting on. Well, which I could tell already, but not to this extent. I want to question them about all this. But I'm sure I'll be met with the same silence. Ugh. Why is everyone so damn secretive? I feel like I'm the only person in the world left out of the loop right now. I keep to my thoughts on the wet journey home, and before long I find myself in my room, gazing listlessly at the ceiling. The rain gradually dies down as the evening settles in. Things are finally calm. But for how long? Yuzuki's words are still repeating in my muddled mind. Something is going to happen tomorrow. Something bad. And I have no idea what. I glimpse out of my window. The usual tent is there, albeit a little more wet than usual. I feel sorry for them having to camp out there in this sort of weather. Those two girls. They've got to know everything that I'm struggling to understand here. It's not fair that even though the entire situation supposedly resolves around me, somehow I know the least. I don't know if they're doing it to protect me or what, but I'm beginning to feel like it's too late for that. I continue to stare at the tent. It's not that late, so they might still be awake. Okay, yeah, I've decided. I'm going to go down there and demand that they explain everything to me. I have to make a stand, be assertive. No more secrets, no more games. I'll refuse to leave them alone until they tell me all I need to know. I'll leave them no choice. Steeling myself, I slip into my shoes and sneak out into the garden. Yup, this is happening. I'm finally going to learn everything. I approach the tent, its entrance securely zipped. But that won't stop me. I know how these things work. I grab hold of the zip. No hesitating here. I'll give them no time to stop me. And then in one swift motion, I unzip the tent's door. Okay, no more secrets. I want answers, and I want them. Gratuitous image in 3, 2, 1. Yep, that's pretty gratuitous. Gah? Kenta? What the hell do you think you're doing? Oh no. I may have made a mistake here. Apparently past experiences have taught me nothing. My jaw drops and I find myself unable to put together any form of reply at the sight before me. Upon opening the tent, I'm greeted by the pair of them undressing in a space that looks far bigger on the inside than it does from the outside. A dizzying fragrance drifts forth from the tent and stirs my senses, rendering me more dazed than I already was before. My eyes are torn between the pair, unsure of where to settle as they flip between them. They're both so, pleasing to the eyes. While both of them are clearly embarrassed, Sayaka only seems surprised about the whole ordeal, but I can see Hikari practically shaken with what I can only assume is rage. This isn't fair. How was I supposed to know? They do this stuff on purpose, I swear. Kenta! Hikari barks, scrambling for something within their oddly spacious tent to cover herself with. Hang on, they've already proved that they could change their clothes basically instantly and by magic. Why don't they just do that? The right thing to do here would be to zip the tent back up and wait for them to get dressed, but all I could do is gawk, possibly making the situation much worse than it should be. Curse my natural instincts. I can't help but look, it's what I'm programmed to do. Just what? Being a pervert? Because I can clearly see that. Oh, God, I hope none of the neighbours can hear this. You've got me all wrong, I just wanted to... She cuts me off. Naturally. Of course, I was never going to be allowed to explain myself. That's just not how it works with these girls. No more excuses. I let you off last time, but now... With a blanket covering most of her bare body, Kara marches towards me, with a scary expression, all the while Sayaka stands by. Maybe we should hear him out. I'm sure he wouldn't just barge in here without a good reason. He had good reason, alright. A perverted one. No, Hikari, listen to her. I really do. She cracks her fist. Have mercy! Her fist flies, and I soon see stars as I'm left flat on my back and gazing skywards within my garden. I'm left sprawled out for a good moment before Sayaka and Hikari approach me, now fully dressed. Why does everything have to be so difficult? After explaining how I met Yuzuki the other day, and what she told me, it seems I finally convinced them to explain things. I led them to my room so we could more comfortably explain things. The tent was an option, but I have bad memories of that place now. Sayaka plops down on my bed and excitedly looks about the room, while Hikari stands by the door, still angry about before. I said I was sorry. Ah, so this is your room, huh? It's nice to finally be able to see it from the inside, after spying on it all this time. I'll pretend I didn't hear that. It's surprisingly neat. Okay, so... Are you guys finally going to tell me what the heck is going on? I wonder what sort of things Kenta has saved on his computer. Sayaka reaches over and prods at my laptop. Guys, can we focus, please? Oh, right, yeah. Thank you. Sayaka sits up straight and takes on a serious expression. Well, I wasn't even sure she was capable of. We really were going to tell you, Kenta. It just wasn't something we wanted to keep a secret. We just thought we could handle things on our own before letting you in on it all. But, well, as you've heard from that Yuzuki person, time is, running short now. Which, by the way, I still can't believe you didn't tell us about up until now. Do you realise how much danger you put yourself in when you went up to face her alone? Hikari cuts in and stomps away across to join Sayaka, fire in her eyes. See, this is why I don't tell her anything. I know it was stupid, but it was the only way I could learn anything since you guys weren't being very helpful. That's... She falls silent. Guess I got her there. He has a good point, Hikari. Don't side with him. You're supposed to be my partner. So all I hear about is how time is running short. But why? What exactly will happen tomorrow? The start of something really bad. What though? Enough with the cryptic stuff. Don't yell at me, Kenta. Sheesh. Calm down, I was just getting to that. I may have lost it a little there. I pull back from her, and I quiet down. Tell me, Kenta, what do you know about your bloodline? Your ancestors? I don't really... Wait, why is this important? Your blood is the most important thing here. That's why we're even bothering to protect you. Hikari, don't be mean. But... well, your blood is why we were sent. If it fell into the wrong hands, well, namely Yuzuki's, we'd all be in a lot of trouble. What, my blood? What's so special about mine? It might be a little hard to believe, but you're, well, you're the descendant of a long line of mages. People with magical abilities. Come again? Where on earth did they dig that up from? I think if they came to me with that one on the first day we met, I could have labelled them as crazy. I kind of called this quite a while ago, to be honest, guys. I was fairly positive he was going to be, the descendant of some great mage or great warrior or a great hero or some bollocks. Martin's going to have a field day analysing the plot of this one. But after all I've seen, it's a bit easier to believe. How much more does it need to be spelled out for you? You have mage blood. Shouting it into my ear doesn't really help me process it better, you know. Why wouldn't I know something like this? I mean, it seems pretty important. Well, the world in general doesn't really know about the existence of magic anymore. It just sort of something that got lost in the history books as technology began to take over. So, you know, most families with magic in their blood at this point don't even know about it. It's just something that lies dormant now. Okay. So if a lot of people have this magic blood, what makes mine so special? I mean, more special than theirs, anyway. I'm glad you asked. Sayaka hops to her feet from the bed, taking me by surprise. This girl can't sit still for more than a minute, I swear. I won't bore you with all the details, but so here's the story in short. She clears her throat as if this were at school, a presentation that she'd been practicing for. Hundreds of years ago, back when magic was still prevalent in the world, there existed a mage with tremendous power. So much power, in fact, that she was pretty much the mage at the time. Everyone looked up to her, and she was an inspiration to all. But you know what happens to people with all the power in the world, right? She frowns and lets out a sigh. They always want more power. It changes people, corrupts them. So soon she wanted dominion over everything. Over everyone, even. All the respect that people once had for her, well, that turned to fear, and she became blight on the land. Everywhere she went, darkness followed and spread across the land as she went about her conquest. This is getting pretty lengthy. Why do I feel like I know this person she's talking about? You still with me, Kenta? She leaned forward and raises an eyebrow as I let out a yawn. Huh? Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think. Well, what does this person have to do with me? I'm getting there. Gosh. Basically, you're related to the person that had the courage to stand up to this Dark Queen and put her in her place. Hikari! Why did you have to spoil things? Because if you tell the whole story, we're going to be here until the sun rises. And time is of the essence here. Aww. I was really getting into it there and everything. Thanks, Hikari. I appreciate it. So, what? My ancestor killed this evil queen person. If he did, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. No, with all the power she held, killing her was an impossibility. I wouldn't go as far as to say she was immortal, but I'm sure it's pretty close. The best he could do was seal her, using the most powerful sealing magic he could muster, which leads us back to that magical old blood pumping around you, Kenta. Essentially, he tied his fate with hers when locking her away. A seal so powerful that it would only unlock when one strict condition is met. And what condition is that? Well, I think you should know by now. Something to do with my blood, right? Bingo! Her seal will only truly unlock if it comes into contact with the blood of the one who sealed her away, or, by extension, any of his descendants. Well, actually, not just any descendant. It has to be the one who has the latent magical power residing within them. So that means... It means your dad is safe and the shadows have no interest in him. He does have some magic in his blood, but it's not really enough to realise any abilities. Huh. That's pretty convenient. Sayaka stretches down and lets out a tiny yawn. Must have been exhausting for her to focus on one subject for so long. I think that things are finally starting to make sense. So, are you following so far? Yeah, I think. Basically, my blood is the key to unlocking something terrible. Pretty much. But then if it's connected to my blood, why are we running out of time? The seal will thankfully never break unless your blood is spilled, but it's been a long time since she's been imprisoned, meaning that the seal is weakening in its effectiveness with each passing day. Ever so slowly, her influence has been creeping into the world. Kenta, your head aches. I see. So she's almost calling out to me in a sense? That's why the monsters have been as organised as they have. Why that girl, Yuzuki, she instilled whatever power she could muster into that girl and is using her as a puppet until she's finally free herself. I'm not sure what lies she must have fed that girl in order to get her to obey, but she's infected her mind. And given her the current rate of her violence has been spreading from her prison, tomorrow will when she achieves even more influence on the world. The monsters will become more rampant than before, and Yuzuki will become more powerful too. Basically, our job will be even more difficult than it is already. That's bad, huh? Very. Which brings us to our next order of business. When we were first assigned to watch over you, all we had to do was take care of a stray shadow or two if they suddenly decided to act on instinct. And that was easy enough. I had no idea those things even existed, and we were able to keep hidden and watch from afar. But then things started to go wrong. When you saw that shadow, well, it really took both Hikari and I by surprise. It was like it was on a mission and it completely slipped past our super vigilant watch. If I recall, wasn't that the day you insisted on getting a sandwich? Nope. We were ever vigilant. Guess I was even luckier than I thought they'd managed to save me back then. So anyway, once we were forced to show ourselves to you, it was clear that something wasn't right. At all. And that they were even more obvious when Yuzuki assaulted us. Wielding a power unlike anything we've seen before. We've been looking into it when we had the free time, which is rarely ever when tasked with having to watch over you. Well, excuse me for existing. And it became quite apparent that things weren't going to solve themselves once we learned that the seal in place had been slowly weakening. We needed to reinforce her prison, strengthen it so that even her influence can't affect the world anymore. Oh, only if it were that easy, we could have done it ourselves without bothering you. Sayaka pulls a complicated expression. I don't think I'm going to like what she has to say next. Kenta, we need your help. Me? How the heck am I supposed to help? You guys are the ones with all the fancy powers. It's not exactly ideal that we have to rely on you, I know, but we have no choice. And we're out of time to search for alternate means. Basically, since the seal was created by someone in your bloodline and linked directly to them, it can only be strengthened by someone bearing the same blood. I mean, technically we could break the seal that's there and trap her in a new one, but I don't think we'd last long enough to do that. So in other words, I'm really the only solution here. I'm not sure how to take this. I don't know the first thing about this magic business, though. Am I even capable of doing such a thing? Sayaka takes a moment to ponder things, her finger held to her chin as her eyes ran open. Do you remember the night when Hikari was having fun with that tentacle shadow? I was not having fun! Yeah, I guess so. What does that have to do with anything? You used Hikari's sword, didn't you? Yeah. But I don't... Kenta, you must have noticed yourself how light that sword was despite its size, right? It's a blade infused with magic that connects with the wielder to deal swift and powerful blows with ease. So infused, in fact, that if someone not capable of controlling that amount of magic were to attempt to wield it... There you go, boom. Magic would be too much for them to handle. Boom? Well, maybe not explode, but at the very least to bring about a messy end. And given that you're still standing after swinging that thing around, it's safe to say you had the potential in you. Yikes. I can't believe that was the possibility of exploding from picking up her sword. What I did back then was even more reckless than I'd realised. So if you can handle that sword, I think a little sealing magic should be no problem. But then it also means we have to go where she's sealed, taking along the one thing that she's been seeking for all these years. It'll be reckless. And one mistake will mean that we could put the world in danger. No pressure then, huh? I'll try my best to keep things light-hearted and force out an awkward laugh, but it's difficult after hearing all this. To think that somehow I'm both the key to unlocking this woman from her prison, and the only thing that could put her away for good. Tomorrow is our last chance to stop this before it spirals out of control. I think you're going to have to skip a day of school, Kenta. I wonder if out saving the world is a valid enough excuse to miss a day of school. That is, if you choose to help us. I'll understand if you don't feel up to it. Maybe we can find another way. But there isn't another way, is there? That's the whole reason you're telling me all this. I heave that aside, give my guardians a look over. They've done so much for me in this past week. And even more than I'd realised behind the scenes. And if anything, I owe them this. I swallow hard. I can feel my hands begin to tremble. I might die if I go with them. And then if we leave it, things will only get worse. So, I guess I have no choice here, do I? I'll help with this sealing business, if you think I can manage it. You will? Sayaka looks ecstatic as she claps her hands together. Was she expecting not to help me out? Hikari looks equally surprised. Jeez, a little faith goes a long way, guys. It's the least I can do after you guys have been risking your lives for me every day. If I finally have a way to help, then I'm not going to waste that chance. Kenta? Oh, it sounded cool there. Almost. I think we need to work on your heroic dialogue. But that'll have to come later. We have lots to cover if you're going to seal away this Dark Queen, so pay attention. Just when I thought the night couldn't get any longer, yet another lecture begins. It sure wasn't easy for the pair of them to teach someone like me the basics of magic. Someone who was only just barely aware of its existence at all. I'm not even sure if I've got the steps down. but after hours of practicing, they've assured me that I've got it down. But I won't be able to tell for sure until the real thing. That's what scares me. What if they've misjudged what I'm really capable of? Or I mess up? Or there's a whole range of possibilities of things messing up on the day. These are the thoughts that stay with me long after the girls return to their tent to catch whatever rest they can before the morning. The last thoughts I have before I finally drift off to sleep is that the toughest day of my life is now laying ahead of me. Dream subplot better come back, or otherwise it's utterly pointless. Congratulations, your dream subplot was utterly pointless. I slowly come to my senses. Morning has arrived, and there's no time to waste. I slip out of the covers and steel myself for what's to come, feeling more awake than I have ever in the previous mornings. Which is surprising, seeing as I've probably only got at best a few hours of sleep. I guess the fear of what's to come if I mess this up is keeping me going, but it's a better motivator than any other. Okay, let's do this. I peer at a pair of determined eyes that stare back at me from the mirror. This is the most focused I've ever been in my life. It's funny how much has changed in these past few days, and if it seemed more weird than I seem to accept it. As if deep down, I knew all of this to begin with. I slip on my casual clothes and make for the dining room. I find the two girls waiting for me as expected. I'm a little caught off guard by the fact that they were in their battle outfits. Good morning. Did you sleep well? About as well as I could, knowing what's to come. Make sure to eat well before we leave. You're going to need all the strength. Right, of course. I start with the kitchen to prepare the most simple food I can think of. So, I think I forgot to ask last night when we got carried away with the other stuff. Where exactly is this Dark Queen imprisoned? Huh? Didn't we say? She's still just outside this town. What? I almost dropped the plate I'm holding. She's that close by? Of course. Why else do you think her influence is spreading around here so easily? I didn't really think about any of that. That's a good point. But I think she's been this close this whole time. No wonder things have been getting progressively crazy around here. She must be furious to have the key to her freedom just out of grasp like this. To be fair, while we knew she was at least in the area, we didn't point her exact location until last night. Apparently, she's in a forest on the outskirts of town, holed up in some cave out of sight. There's a lot of history around this place, I suppose. Maybe the forest used to be part of something greater. Her old base of operations, perhaps? None of that matters. We just have to get in there, strengthen the seal, and then our lives should be much easier. Are things really just going to magically fix themselves when we do this? Well, it'll shut off whatever power she had on the land, meaning the monsters will go back to being mindless husks, and things should quiet down around here. And then we can finally go home after all of this is sorted. I swear I'm going to snap if I have to spend one more day at that school. Aw, don't act like you're so desperate to leave. I know for a fact you'd have fun spending time with Kenta. Don't be ridiculous. I'm only doing my job. You can't fool me. Not when your face is such an adorable shade of red. Huh. Are we going to leave now or what? Sayaka giggles and jabs at her partner's ribs. I suppose it's good that they can stay in such high spirits despite the task that lays before us. We set out, and I let the girls lead the way as we take the lesser travelled routes through the town, so as not to draw attention to their outfits. They offer to fly me there as it would be much faster, but yeah, no. Walking is fine. I'm sure things aren't that urgent. Before long, our surroundings become less urban, the buildings shrinking in number the longer we travel, to finally cross over a fence and into the wilderness. Right, I think I'm going to cut this episode a little short because it feels like we're heading into the big finale and I don't want to have to cut that in the middle. So either way, I will say thank you very much for watching and I will see you in the next part.